Let's go Steelers! We have new updates straight from behind the scenes of our beloved team. We'll talk more about that soon. Now, regarding the third preseason game, Omar Khan has already made it clear that he expects a victory over the Panthers. Nothing less. Well, to be honest, I really believe we will win. If you're confident the Steelers will win, hit that like button hard. If possible, write something like this: Go Steelers! My heart bleeds black and gold. Now let's talk about injuries. Gabe Davis returned to Pittsburgh for a second visit this offseason and once again left without a contract. This time, however, the stakes seem different. With the regular season approaching, the Steelers brought him back for another round of medical evaluations, hoping to see progress in his recovery from the knee injury he suffered in Jacksonville. Pittsburgh's interest is real, but concerns remain. And now, a well-known team could come along and sign him right under the nose of the Steelers. His former team, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are hosting Davis next, and looking at their receiver room, it's easy to see why both sides might be interested in a reunion. Khalil Shakir leads the group, but he's more of a gadget player than a true WR1. Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, Curtis Samuel, and Elijah Moore round out a room that's deep in names but light in elite production. Davis already has chemistry with Josh Allen, having posted multiple 700-yard seasons with him in Buffalo. The fit is seamless, the opportunity is clear, and the path to playing time is much easier than it would be in Pittsburgh, where he'd be battling for snaps with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III behind DK Metcalf. The Steelers have a vision for Roman Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers seems fully on board. Rodgers recently spoke about the joint practices with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which served as a real barometer for where the offense stands. In his assessment, despite some breakdowns in run defense and blitz pickups, Rodgers emphasized that Wilson is becoming a weapon. The veteran quarterback praised Wilson's improvement and said he has a chance to be a big-time talent if coached hard and used properly. Rodgers made it clear he sees Roman Wilson as the second most utilized wide receiver on this team behind Metcalf. Wilson's strengths are obvious: 4.3 speed, sudden acceleration, and a knack for creating separation on crossing routes. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has been dialing up the right looks for him, maximizing his ability to beat defenses horizontally and stretch the field vertically when needed. There's still work to be done if Wilson is ever to become a full-route tree receiver, but what he brings now is enough to carve out a meaningful role in year one. If Davis did sign, it's hard to see how he would leapfrog Wilson on the depth chart, and that could be a deciding factor for Davis. Skylar Thompson is another player shaking up the depth chart. He's made the most of his preseason reps with Will Howard sidelined due to a finger injury. Thompson, who once started ahead of Howard at Kansas State, is now outperforming expectations again. Nearly 70% completion percentage, close to 350 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns through 2 games. It's impressive. Even his one interception wasn't entirely his fault, a tipped pass bobbled by the receiver.
The buzz around Thompson is growing. Steelers insiders are acknowledging the tough decision ahead. Mike Tomlin historically weighs preseason game performance heavily, and with little to go on for Will Howard in that department, Thompson is making this a real conversation. But context matters, and so does potential. Howard may not have the tape from preseason games this year, but he flashed in practice before the injury and has traits the organization believes in. As a 6th-round pick with strong physical tools and the endorsement of Aaron Rodgers, Howard represents something Thompson does not: a possible future. That matters more than ever because Rodgers isn't a long-term solution, and neither is Mason Rudolph. If the Steelers fall out of playoff contention, it's Howard they'd want to see under center, not Thompson, who's already had a shot at starting in the league and didn't stick. The smart play is to keep Howard as QB3 if healthy and stash Thompson on the practice squad, though doing that risks losing him to another team. There's real danger in that. Thompson's performance this preseason makes him a prime poaching candidate. He looks like a capable backup, and several teams around the league lack even that. But if Howard is healthy by week 1, the Steelers need to think long-term. And that means trusting the process, sticking with the guy they drafted, and hoping Thompson clears waivers. One player Steelers fans won't have to worry about losing is Kim Hayward. The longtime defensive anchor returned to team drills this week for the first time since early training camp, practicing in full pads and lining up with the starters. That's significant, not just for his on-field presence, but for what it suggests behind the scenes. Hayward had been sitting out while seeking a pay raise. His return could mean progress is being made in negotiations, or it might signal acceptance that no new deal is coming. Either way, the outcome is the same. Kim looks ready to go for week 1 against the New York Jets. His return bolsters a defensive line that will need every bit of experience and leadership to start strong. And speaking of the Jets, there's another key role that might be in question heading into that matchup: long snapper. Christian Kuntz has a fractured sternum and is expected to miss time, though there's still hope he could return by week 1. In the meantime, the Steelers have signed veteran Jake McQuaid, who brings a wealth of experience and will get game reps against Carolina. If Kuntz can't go, McQuaid is a capable stopgap. Mike Tomlin has also confirmed that Rodgers, Metcalf, Hayward, and TJ Watt won't play in the final preseason game. The Panthers, likewise, won't be playing most of their starters. That opens the door for more evaluation of the back end of the roster, including more snaps for Wilson, Austin, and possibly even Thompson, depending on Howard's status. The Steelers are in a precarious but exciting spot. They have a budding offensive identity forming with Wilson emerging, Arthur Smith tailoring schemes to maximize speed and separation, and a quarterback in Rodgers who believes in the direction. Defensively, they're looking healthier, stronger, and ready to reestablish themselves as a dominant force. But that wide receiver decision could set the tone for how aggressive this team is willing to be. Davis is a proven commodity, but the price is steep, not financially, but in opportunities lost for younger players. Is adding him worth slowing Wilson's development? Would he even be healthy enough to contribute right away? So now I turn it over to you, Steelers Nation. Should the team sign Gabe Davis, or is it time to go all in on Roman Wilson and the young core at wide receiver? Let me know what you think. If the Steelers decide not to pursue Gabe Davis further, or if he ultimately returns to Buffalo, the pressure will be squarely on Roman Wilson to prove that the team made the right call. And everything we've seen in camp and preseason suggests he's ready for that responsibility. The Steelers have a clear offensive identity taking shape, built around speed, precision, and scheme separation. Wilson is the centerpiece of that approach from the slot. He doesn't need to be DK Metcalf. He just needs to consistently create space and punish defenses over the middle and down the seams. Arthur Smith's use of crossing routes, play-action bootlegs, and layered route combinations plays directly into Wilson's strengths. When Wilson gets to attack linebackers and safeties in motion with his elite burst and short area quickness, he becomes nearly impossible to cover. And with Rodgers showing full confidence in him, you can already see the chemistry forming. If Wilson builds on this momentum, his role could be even larger than originally expected. Meanwhile, the Steelers' quarterback room remains one of the most layered and intriguing storylines heading into the final roster cuts. Thompson's performances haven't just created a QB3 debate. They've also shown that the Steelers have quality depth at the most important position. That's not something every team can say. Even if Will Howard wins the spot, the Steelers know they've got another capable arm ready if needed. Defensively, the return of Cam Hayward to full practice is one of the biggest positives of the week. This defense thrives when he's in the middle, commanding double teams, disrupting plays, and setting the tone for the entire unit. And this brings everything full circle. Gabe Davis? Maybe. But the Steelers are signaling something bigger. They believe in what they're building. They believe in their young weapons. They believe in the chemistry growing between Aaron Rodgers and Roman Wilson. And they believe that when the season begins, the results will speak for themselves. Steelers Nation, don't blink. The regular season is almost here, and it's shaping up to be something special. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and make sure to click